Opening the meeting now, we have an opportunity for a brief time for public comment. I'm assuming, Dennis, you're here for public comment? No? Okay. If the board is okay with it, I'd like to move down to old business to poll petition, which would allow us to finish up some business from the last meeting regarding a pole placement on Old Dana Road. I don't know, Mark, you were there. So you have some comment?
Ed Erickson, myself, and this gentleman, pretty much came to a agreement. Ed doesn't have a problem with the poles, and he was kind of misinformed on how it was all laid out versus the plan.
Yeah, it's just, there was some paint marks there that weren't part of the project. So we cleared all his concerns up.
Yeah.
Would you
Just the 3 poles.
Would you think at this point then, Mark, we're ready to have a motion to approve the poll petition?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Would you make that motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to
Approve the poll?
basically approve the poll petition for, I'm not sure what's the...
Old Dana Road?
Wait, yeah, but what number Old Dana Road is it?
I really don't know, it's not listed here.
Okay, for Old Dana Road, National Grid.
Yep.
A second?
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the poll petition for the Old Dana Road that was discussed at our previous meeting. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Took you a lot
You too.
longer to get here, right?
It was a bit of a drive, drove through some rain.
Oh, yeah.
Got here.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you come in from?
I was back at my house in Charlton.
Charlton.
So
That's
not bad.
2 minutes.
Gotta do it.
At least you don't have to worry about hitting traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Not hearing any public comment on petition, let's move on to the approval of meeting minutes for July 10th.
I move the approval of the meeting minutes from July 10th.
Any second?
A second?
We have a motion made and seconded. Do we have any further discussion on that matter? Seeing and hearing none. Those in favor of approving the minutes for the July 10th meeting, so indicate. Aye.
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 Looks like a vote.
I move.
Go ahead.
no.
No, you go right ahead.
Oh, I move to approve the executive session minutes from July 10th, 2023, for approval but not release.
Second?
We have a second to approve the executive session meeting minutes for July 10th, but not for release. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like a vote. Okay, we now have the opportunity to hear our town administrator report.
I have nothing this evening.
Okay. Annual appointments, we have as presented to us, I think we're at annual appointments.
Select
Oh,
board
I'm sorry,
reports.
select board report, sorry about that.
I just have a quick report to update on Chapter 90.
Mhm.
Speaking with them earlier today, we do have the documents in. They're reviewing them now. Also, the district has indicated they will allow us to use Chapter 90 to cover the overage, so we will not be on the hook for that. They just want to come and speak with us about that later.
Okay.
So,
That information is, something really good to hear. I'd like to thank all individuals who took time to make sure that all the i's were dotted and t's were crossed.
I know, John Chase and Shannon were working down at the DPW. Sandy was working up here to get everything together. I even got to help her with the down in the archives for a bit. So everyone who was working on that, especially Sandy and down at the DPW,
Shannon.
really
Yeah.
pulled that all through. So we
Yeah.
really appreciate all that effort.
Absolutely. At any rate, any other select board reports at this point? Hearing none. Okay, moving. The only thing I would just like to indicate is that, as you know, the one thing that the citizenry really felt that they would like to spend some ARPA money on was refurbishing and rehabbing our playgrounds for our children.
Mhm.
And we continue to struggle over the whole idea of how much money we're going to, have to spend from Charter's perspective to take care of expanding broadband. So we've been sort of holding back on some other, things like the playgrounds. What I would like to do is to have the opportunity, if the board so thinks it's fit, for me to go to the area, for example, in High Plains, indicate to the citizenry there that we're considering, fixing up the playground that they have and asked for them to give us some input. So what they would like, I mean, playgrounds are certified for ages 2 to 5 and also from 5 to 10. So there's different stuff if we make it,
Yep.
okay? And the playground equipment that I've been looking into is stuff that is approved for schools and for public playgrounds, and we would only obviously purchase and put in, things that were suitable. They also have playgrounds that are handicapped accessible, and so on and so forth. So I would just like to hear from the public. I mean, the one up in High Plains, there's an awful lot of children that do, play in those playgrounds, but there's not a lot of parking around there, so the playground has become more of a community-based thing than it is for the town. We know that the Rice Park land that is, kind of down on School Street, you know that, where that is, there's the basketball court where the grass is probably taller than on the common, but, because it's just old and not been really taken a lot. There's room there, obviously, for playground equipment. We need to take out the old stuff because some of the old stuff is really dangerous and shouldn't be there. That Rice Park is by deed specifies it's got to be some sort of a park. We can't, do something else with it. And so it's important to try to, because before you know it, this ARPA money has got to be spent. And if we were, I would suspect, and I haven't looked into it close enough to know, but I bet there has to be certified installers on that kind of playground
Oh, I'm sure.
equipment that is,
I think the risk would be, it would be dangerous to take on the risk without that,
Yeah.
even if it's not required.
So I was really kind of impressed with what we would be able to get for the children as far as the cost of the stuff. But I am very I bet the labor is just because it's prevailing wage.
Yep.
Will be very high. So at any rate, and some of the companies do a thing like where parents and so forth can help and assist. Doing the playground, and, the work is still certified. So we can look into that, but I'd like to have the opportunity to, at least represent the select board, and certainly all of you are welcome, but we would have to post the meeting if you wanted to go to High Plains with me and see who would show up. Because I want them to say, we don't like this, we should have benches for people to sit in, the fencing is not appropriate, whatever. And down in poor Rice Park, I don't think I've never seen a child playing there. But it may be me, or it may be that it's just so poor condition at this point that they don't play there. So that's sort of just an update on playgrounds.
I would just say, along those lines, we should be having a public meeting, public hearing of sorts at some point put together by CMRPC over the next month or so. It wouldn't be a select board meeting, it would be just a public meeting that they'd put together to discuss what they found with the Southbury block grant.
Okay.
And so that could potentially open up more funding for that, but I think regardless of that, it would be good to start preparing what we would want to do there, assuming we're going to fund it one way or another. I'd certainly be interested in going to that as well and joining in that.
Yeah, and I think that it's well deserved. The children really deserve some reasonably decent, playground facilities. The only facility that we have in a playground thing is what's at Ruggles Lane. And that's fine, but it's never open to the public because school's always in session, and so on. So parents have really asked for that. It seems like a very reasonable request and something we should use ARPA funds for. Another issue under the ARPA funds thing that I will be bringing to the board for hopefully your support, it appears that down in the Barre Plains Common, they've been working on that little group down there. And that has basically been funded by the Barre Charitable Foundation. There is a need to do a walkway there, and there we have a price for $2,200 to put the walkway that's necessary to get to the flag area and so forth. And so I will be asking, not this evening because it's not agended, but for whether or not we would support that $2,200. Everything else that's been upgraded down there has been at the Charitable Foundation has funded. So that would be a very, very small contribution from the town to have taken care of that little spot for the community of Barre Plains.
I'd also note that that's a spot that was highlighted in our ADA report that we received about a year ago as, ADA updates that are needed for the town.
Yeah, it's in tough shape down there.
Yeah, it's not accessible at this point.
No. So at any rate, I would be bringing that up at our August meeting, so just, that's all I have. Any correspondence, Sandy? Good? Okay. We are now can move to intergovernmental departmental transfers, and I would give that task to Greg, and he can walk us through.
Thank you, board members. So you have in front of you a listing of departmental accounts that need funding for fiscal year 2023. That would be the year ending on June 30th that just has gone by. Of those requests, total $291,168.14. It's spread amongst a number of departments, but as you go through there, the higher ones seem to be attributable to accounts that had to do with electricity and fuel. And I point out the fact that the fuel account was over by $66,120. Street lighting was over by $14,192. Library utilities, $18,616. And you also note the Henry Woods and the Public Safety Building were respectively over by $12,012 and $45,062. And although those last two aren't broken down specifically for fuel, in speaking with the town accountant, she alerted me that that was an issue. So that's something that certainly in this fiscal year we need to keep an eye on those costs. And when we have a town meeting, not one this early, but one at some time during the year, the town accountant and the town administrator should take a closer look and make sure that we're tracking online with those amounts. And if they're not, we can transfer money into them so that we don't end up in a situation like this.
Yeah. I know certainly that one thing, our overtime account was really stretched very early on.
Yep.
Due to, we had some significant water breaks, a significant water leak for quite a period of time, and that, to get that fixed, took some additional overtime that dribbled into, certainly more hours than we had anticipated.
Right. The second part of the document in front of you is those accounts that show surpluses and monies that are available to be transferred into. And the total of those accounts is $370,594.20. So these are the departments as you look through that did not spend down to their last dollar. And you'll see that kind of a range across the board. But the best news is that we have adequate monies to be able to cover our shortfalls.
Right.
And it does require a vote of the Board of Selectmen so that these monies can be transferred and a town accountant can close the books on the fiscal year 2023.
I would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the interdepartmental transfers for the fiscal year 2023.
Second.
Okay, we have presented before us the information that would be put it in our, shall we say, correspondence to, or in the minutes that demonstrate where we're transferring funds, which leaves us with an excess of, or an over, of $89,426. So that's good news for the town of Barre, and that would ultimately fall to
Free cash?
free cash. So, good news, we have a motion made and seconded to make the transfers as presented, and will be documented by these documents in the meeting minutes. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Greg, for your work with the town accountant, getting
Thank you.
this information available to us. Good news, and nothing that's out of the ordinary, so we're very pleased to see that. Moving on to annual appointments, which again is pretty perfunctory stuff. You can see basically that we have a list of FY24 annual appointments from the animal inspector to the memorial committee. And I don't think it's necessary to read it into the minutes. I think that it is presented in writing and can be appended to the minutes. And
My only objection to approving this now is that we didn't take an opportunity to advertise any of these reappointment positions. So I think these, along with the open ones, we would just want to advertise. I think that's what we talked about yesterday, right? Or are these separate from those ones?
No, those are separate.
No,
These are the ones that I notify every year that they're up for renewal, do they want to renew or not? And
Mhm.
they either say yes or no. These are the ones that said yes.
So you're saying any committee vacancies would be separate?
Yes.
I,
That's what we talked about yesterday.
You wanted everything to be
I
open.
meant everything, just to, if anyone, I understand these people have been doing it for a while, but it's always good to make sure if anyone is interested in, stepping in there to, so it'd just be, along with those other ones, just listing these
Well,
ones as well.
I think what we have to do, if we're gonna do that, is to indicate.
It's the same thing we did last
Yeah,
year.
is to make sure that everybody knows that this is an annual appointment and there's a reapplication process, because in the past, that's not been the case.
I'm not necessarily saying that, anyone who is, let's say, incumbent needs to reapply in any other way. Other than that, we would just want to advertise that these positions, someone could state that they have an interest in that position, so we would decide, effectively who we're appointing or reappointing. It is, what we asked for last year, and we did do it last year. I know it upset a few people, but
Okay, so Jessica must have done that because I didn't, because that doesn't ring a bell to me.
that's fine. I would just like to advertise these.
So-
I know it's perhaps redundant. I don't know that anyone will actually apply for any of these positions, but I think it's just communication-wise good to, share with the community that these are positions, these people are being reappointed unless someone else wants to, say that they are interested in it as well, and then we would have to consider them.
Okay. Do you
It's
want
just
me
to allow consideration for someone who would want to step in before some others are reappointed.
Okay, now, will, or do you think that your motion is going to include the list of the fire department members?
No, that wouldn't, that
Okay.
would not include the fire department. I think there's a much different process for the fire department.
So the process that you are recommending that we pursue is that we list all of the annual appointment positions that might be available in the community and say, these positions are an annual appointment, and if you will continue to be interested, please in writing, let us know it. If not, these will be made.
No.
Okay, but
No, that's not what I'm
Okay.
suggesting,
Then I'm
yeah.
confused because that's what I send them. I send them a letter.
Right. I think that's appropriate. I just also think we need to tell the public that these are positions that an appointment is going to be made to these positions, whether it's a reappointment or if someone else is interested in that position, would then need to decide between the reappointed person or the person who's also interested. It's just giving people an opportunity to know that these positions are up for reappointment.
The only concern that I would have, and I'm gonna use the animal inspector just because it's the first one.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm the animal inspector.
Yep.
I've been the inspector for 3 years now or whatever. I assume she asks me, do I want to do it? I say yes.
Mhm.
Then Mark says, I'd like to be the animal inspector. And so then the select board says, okay, let's start a process where we would meet with both people, the person who's been doing it, not evaluated ever, but been doing it, and Mark, who's now interested. And so then the board, or whoever we appoint to do this, would say, okay, we want to meet with these two people, we want to have them have an interview to see who's the better candidate to be the animal inspector. Is that your vision?
Effectively.
Okay. Well, I think,
Again, I don't expect that there would be a lot of people coming to these, positions. I think it'd be good to clarify which ones are completely open, which ones have incumbents. I just think it's important to let the public know that these positions.
But what if they do and say, I'm interested, so then who do you pick? The person that's new, then the one that's been on it for years?
Then it's the same process as appointing someone, when there's two candidates for any appointment.
well,
Dennis?
Can I make a comment?
you
Yeah,
can,
absolutely.
Dennis.
This is just an example. Not doing my own.
You happen to be on this list.
Yes, having been on several committees appointed, the amount of paperwork that she has to go through with that is phenomenal. But I'll take the 9/11 committee for an example. 9 members, that's what the charge became with the members of the previous Board of Selectmen. when you have a charge like that, and you have 9 people that wanna be on this, wouldn't it be beneficial, time-wise, money-wise, and all of that, to make that committee appointed till it's finished, rather than every year? If a member decides to, let's take Lester Paperin, passes away, then we advertise for another member. Because as it stands now, a lot of those committees are annual. It takes a lot of time and effort to track them down. They gotta go through the, and I don't wanna preach to the choir, they gotta go through the ethics training and all that. I would think that somewhere along the line, it would be easier to have it, not an appointment for life, but an appointment for life of the charge.
I actually agree with that for committees where there is a expected termination, where this is the task and after that the committee ends. Let's take, for example, though, Conservation Commission. I don't think, I would be surprised if anyone else, wanted that spot. But, that's not something where Conservation Commission never ends.
Mhm.
It's a perpetual commission, or same with Council on Aging. It's perpetual. I think with things like, 9/11 or Fire Station Building Committee, those are things where there would be a termination. I don't think those would need to be renewed.
Well,
Regularly.
For example, the Common Committee.
Yeah.
There were actually 2 committees, one with the Dix Brook and then, doing all this groundwater piping under the common, and then the actual Common Committee, which is still intact, but with very few members, because through time, less and less things were done. There's still some monies left in that funding that I believe myself, Paul Cranston, and maybe Scott Innes are still involved with that. But there again is another example of that until completed.
Right.
And when did we start the Common project?
Long time ago.
Right, and if we just took those 3, which are the 3 that I see on here that do, have a specific task for a specific amount of time, that's more than half this list.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
And then Sandy has to chase these people down to see if they do or
Right.
don't. It's a lot of work, Grown adults know, okay, I'm on a
Mhm.
committee, I'm on for a year, then I gotta renew. Well, you should, it's like anything, the
Yep.
fiscal year ends June 31st or whatever.
Some of these are a 3-year term too, by the way, they're
Right.
not all one.
Yeah, some of
Yep.
the
What is that, the
responsibilities
Conservation
fall on-
Commission? Is it 3-year
Conservation, I
term?
believe, is 3.
Yep.
I'm just saying, maybe in the future, the language of a charge
Right.
should say that. It would free up Sandy with a lot of stuff, so, well, I don't wanna say a lot of stuff, but it's a pain in the tuchus, I'm sure.
So the ones that are ongoing, I think, in general, it would be good to allow the public to have some input on. I think the other ones, I think they should have been set up differently to begin with. I tend to agree with you on that. And I'd be fine approving those ones, the Barre Common Oversight, Fire Station Building Committee, and 9/11 Memorial Committee ones. I'd be
Mhm.
fine approving those tonight.
But the Board of Registrars Voters and the Board of Registrars Voters, those 2 individuals, we would indicate to them, we would advertise those 2 jobs. I'm just trying to clean,
I'm just trying to understand, so am I gonna advertise all of those?
no.
Okay.
You're not going to advertise the Fire Building Committee. You're not going to advertise the Memorial Committee. You're not going to advertise the Common Oversight Committee. You are going to advertise Cable TV Advisory Committee. You are going to advertise, not Conservation Commission, if that person, is this person seeking a 3-year appointment?
Yeah, conservation is 3.
Okay, so that one you'd advertise.
I am advertising?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, I'm just going
Okay.
through so we know.
If we were to do it this way, yeah.
Council on Aging.
Yeah.
And the Insurance Advisory Committee,
Madam Chair, by statute, the
That-
Insurance Advisory Committee has to consist of certain
Right.
members. So
Okay. So that would be a separate-
That's not one that we would typically
okay,
advertise,
so
because
we,
there has to be
yeah.
a representation of certain employee groups.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be pulled out. So then,
Okay, so the only ones you're advertising would be Cable TV, Conservation Commission, Council on Aging,
Board of Registers
a
of
Board of
Voters.
Registers of Voters.
Is that another one that's
And
by?
Board of
We
Registers
just
of
need to make
Voters.
sure, sometimes the Board of Registers, there has to be a political party affiliation with those positions.
Oh,
So
okay.
we need to just touch base with the
Yeah.
town clerk
Mhm.
and make sure that we do advertise, if there's an affiliation,
Properly.
we put that in there.
And again, I don't necessarily think anyone's interested in stepping in to any of these or challenging for any of these. I just think it's good to make sure we're transparent and clear and communicate to the town that
Yeah.
these are positions where the appointment is ending. If someone wanted to, or every 3 years, whatever, some of these are 1, some are 3. Either way, this particular one is coming to its end. They might be reappointed. Someone else could seek
Right.
that position if they wanted to.
I think that makes sense, and I think,
Yeah.
we need to sort of get information out that says, if you are appointed to be on, like, the fire station building committee, the expectation is you will be soup to nuts. You will be there until the project is,
Mhm.
or until you resign,
Right,
okay?
Yep.
Or until you do something crazy and you're no longer here, something.
right, until you're pulled for some reason.
Right, okay, and, because that does make sense, Dennis, and thank you for adding that. And I don't have any problem at all with doing as you've asked about the Cable TV Advisory Committee, the Conservation Commission, the Council on Aging. It's just that we have to make clear to the people who've been on these committees what the new status is.
Yeah.
Because I would be, if I had been the animal inspector, I guess I'm
Yeah.
eager to be the animal inspector. If I had been the animal inspector, running around in people's barn, tromping around in the manure and all kinds of other stuff to check horses' hooves and that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden they say, hey, Maureen, we just don't want you to do this anymore. And I go, what? And if there's no evaluation, so I'm just want
Yeah.
to make sure that people know from the get-go that this is an annual appointment, that the board will re-advertise, post and advertise each year.
And it's certainly nothing personal to
Yeah,
any
exactly.
individual.
But I would
It's
take
the
it
same
personal
thing when
now.
anyone's say for an office, there's an opportunity for someone to say,
Else.
I also am interested in that position. It's just to
Right.
make that opportunity known to everyone.
Yeah.
So when do you want me to start advertising for that? Like, do you want me to start like in March? Because I know June 30th it's ending. What time?
Yeah,
That would make sense.
and ideally, yeah.
Right around election time.
Yeah.
Well, literally,
Well, after-
Yeah, okay, that would.
be early.
At some point before we would do reappointments, I mean, I don't know that it's a big deal doing reappointments in July, but
Well, what I'd want to do is to make certain that people who are currently serving with quality, effort, that they understand that this is not personal.
right. And that experience will be weighed very heavily
Yeah,
in,
well, because,
in any situation.
quite frankly, we're usually
If anyone
begging
would
people,
even,
begging
right,
people to do these jobs.
right. And
Okay.
I think we all appreciate all the work that everyone's been doing on these committees. It's just a matter of,
So do you have time to come to the office and tell me what you want me to, and I'll put it in there?
yeah, I'll come, work with, because I know you're also putting together a list of the vacancies, so it would just be
Yeah.
adding these to that and just
Okay.
have one big list. We'll just put an asterisk next to the ones that are, this, or asterisk next to the ones that are vacant one way or another, define that, and just advertise all of
Okay.
it together. So, yeah, I'll come by and we'll work together on that.
Okay, now, shall we wait until our next meeting for these final appointments till we've done all the rest of the stuff? So people can be made aware of why I'm on the memorial committee and I am assumed I was appointed, but I'm the animal inspector and I'm not.
Yeah, I'm fine waiting till the next one to do all the appointments. That's,
Okay.
might be easier to
I just know that some
process
people,
all together.
people who have worked on certain things and all of a sudden say,
Mhm.
what do you mean I'm not on it anymore? They really get irritated.
Right.
So
And this isn't to say anyone's
No,
not on anything
Oh,
anymore.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I think once people understand the process, they'll be fine.
Yeah. It's just to make sure everything's above board.
Okay. So we will take no action other than to make more specific the requirements of service. Okay? Okay, fire department members' reappointment. We have a comprehensive list that's been provided by Acting Chief Scott Fritcher, and we would be seeking a motion to approve as presented that list.
I'd move to approve the fire department member reappointment.
Second motion.
We have a motion made and seconded by our board to approve, as presented, the list of fire department members submitted by the interim chief, Scott Fritcher. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Looks like that's a vote. Okay, we have, as we've had in the last meeting or so, another effort by folks to discharge a mortgage, okay, of the dwelling on 260 South Barre Road, which again is, I believe, dated sometime in the late 1980s.
71.
1989.
1989. So I think we're all pretty comfortable with what this means and why we would, take this situation and act to discharge this mortgage
I would move to discharge the mortgage
for,
for 260 South Barre Road.
okay, and,
What members, I just asked you to make that plural, because there's more than one.
yes,
I move to discharge the mortgages for 260 South Barre Road.
Thank you.
Second.
okay, we have a motion made and seconded to discharge the mortgages for 260 South Barre Road in Barre. These mortgages dated in the late 1980s, early 1990s. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 I was just curious, what does that mean, discharge? Is it,
Write it off the books. Take it off their deed.
do they owe money to the town?
They do owe money to the town,
That property just sold for $310,000.
well, it can't be sold
Can't-
without
can't
this.
sell this.
We have to discharge,
People are already living in it,
yeah,
and it was in the newspaper.
yeah, well, just, it is a part of a legal process for a clear title, to clear title.
That's the house that I lived in.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
it's a long time ago, Dennis. 1989.
They closed on it, Dennis?
Oh, yeah,
Did this hang on and then it wasn't released?
Could be that there's, I don't know, I'm not aware of the sale of the property, so I don't want to comment on it.
You
Well,
have
title
the
search was
thing you want
bank
us to sign?
assessor on that.
What's that?
You have the
Everything's
document?
right here for you guys.
Okay,
to sign,
fine.
yeah.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded and passed to discharge the mortgages for 260 South Barre Road. Okay. Request to use town property, town hall making opportunity count. I know we've done that before for this agency. Have they completed the required documents? That would be on August 7th. Anyone interested in a motion?
I would abstain on this one.
Which one do we want?
This is on E, request to use town property, town hall for making opportunity count. I would seek a motion from you, Mark, because we have an abstention over here next to me.
Okay, which one are we?
It's right
talking
here,
about?
request to use town property for making opportunity count, the
Okay.
MOC.
That's all I'm gonna read, I
Yeah,
We have
think. I
the
would
paperwork.
move to, I wanna read,
Oh, sure,
where is it?
should be right in it. Would you give
not
us a
showing
little
what it is.
explanation of it, John?
Yeah, so mock CFCE is making opportunity count. It's part of children and families from the State Department. They're funded through a grant program. I'm not sure what this is exactly. Oh, it's a Balance, Bounce, Be Active. So they actually had this program, I believe it was last year, in the town hall.
Yeah.
And it's a motor skills activity for kids, say from 6 months to probably 3 or 4 years old. So it is a play group, but this is a group that comes in and works on some
Motor skills.
additional motor skills for children. And it's a free event for everyone to go to. I believe this one's free.
Yeah.
They typically are.
Yeah.
They actually had a great. Oh no, that was the library. But anyway, so I've done some work with them.
I move to approve the request town property for the town hall for the playgroup Balance, Bounce, Be Active.
Balance, bounce, be off. I would second that motion. We have all of the paperwork required to use town property as verified by our treasurer secretary. So those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Looks like a vote. Okay, another request to use town property, town hall for family gathering, August 26th. You can talk a little bit about that, Sandy?
They've used the town hall before for family events, so it's,
And they have,
everything's
put-
all set, yeah.
everything's all set, okay? We have a motion for approving the use of town property on August 26th.
I would move to approve the use of town hall for a family gathering on August 26th.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to use town property for family gathering on August 26th.
Hey there.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a one-day special liquor license application for Colebrook Springs Winery. We have appropriate paperwork?
All of those together.
Yep.
Colebrook Springs, Hardwick Winery, Stone Cow, and Milkman Brewery, that's all the fundraising for the 250th for Dancing in the Street.
Okay, so
Okay.
this
It's
is,
a one-day liquor license. for all
okay,
of them.
so there's a one-day liquor license for 250th anniversary events. We have appropriate paperwork and approvals?
Everything,
We have appropriate paperwork and approvals for those, one-day liquor licenses, one for Colebrook Springs Winery, one for Hardwick Vineyard and Winery, one for Stone Cow Brewery, one for Milk Room Brewing Company. We have a motion?
I'd move to approve the one-day special liquor license applications for the Dancing in the Streets events for Coldbrook Springs Winery, Hardwick Vineyard and Winery, Stone Cow Brewery, and Milk Room Brewing Company
We have a second?
for August 26th.
Second.
I'm sorry, not August
yeah. Oh,
26th,
it's fourth,
Yeah.
24th.
fourth.
August 4th. Isn't it the item above?
6 APL, one.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the one-day liquor licenses for Colebrook Springs, Hardwick Vineyard, Stone Cow Brewery, Milk Room Brewing Company for August 26th.
August 4th.
I'm sorry, geez, you got me saying that, for August 4th. We have a motion made and seconded, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm reading that right off my paper. We have already taken care of old business as included on the agenda, and that is the positioning of poles on Old Dana Road by National Grid. So that's taken care of. We have no other business listed for this evening. We already did, shall we say, public comment, but since you're here, any public comment? We have no public comment. I thank you guys for, spending time with us this evening, and I think we have some signatures to do. But again, thanks to those people at DPW and others who put together all of the paperwork necessary to get us on the right track for our Chapter 90 reimbursements. Thanks also to those individuals who continue to serve the community in various ways for free. I do want to thank whoever, and I think it could have been the DPW, but it may not have been, who weed whacked between almost 800 flags on the town hall common. Usually I spend most of my time after, because I and another person take all of those flags out, clean them all off, and save them for the next year. And so I said, whoever weed whacked it, the last thing they want me to do is go there, start ripping those flags out.
Wow.
So anyway, so we've delayed that, but I talked with the chief of police today, and he said, when are you taking those flags out? I don't know if he has something he wants to do on the common, but we hope to get those flags out this week, and they will be removed. All of the other flags that are by the Legion and by the Ruggles Lane booth that we work with on the other flags, those will be up until Veterans Day. And then we'll be removing them so that the Christmas in Barre committee can put up Christmas decorations, because they're usually chomping at the bit, ripping my bunting off of things in order to try to get the next.
Before it gets really cold.
I know, you've had some good days the last couple of years to put it up.
Yeah.
A lousy day for the parade.
Yes.
That was very lousy. But anyway, I do thank those people who are, working on weed whacking. And I know people have been complaining to me a little bit about, they have a lot of complaints and a lot of questions about the dam. You probably know that, that's something that's generated
do.
a lot of public comment.
Sure.
And we encourage the public to remain vigilant, to understand that the state has a very arduous process that goes through with public hearings and opportunities to be heard for, I believe they do environmental impact statements.
That's correct.
This is not like, oh, they turn the switch and it's over. This is gonna take months to years before we actually know what will happen to that particular area.
100% correct.
Yeah, so just to let people know that, and please, those people who listen to this meeting, if you are of a mind that you want to know more about public playgrounds for ages 2 through 5 or 5 through 10, I'm the person who will be in your communities asking questions and saying, what would you really like, where would you really like it? And we hope to use some of our ARPA funding to take care of some playgrounds in the community. Anything from you at all? We good? Okay,
So,
I think we're ready to adjourn.
I'd move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
We're in motion to adjourn seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.